But a good Cosmo is excellent.
I love a French 75.
75. She loves a French 75.
I don't even know what that is.
You've had one. I made you one in Canada.
Hey, Tim, producer Tim, what fills up your love tank? What does it for you?
I'm just a moderator of this particular episode. I'm not involved in the actual conversation. Kathy, what's your love language?
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
Hello, and welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're so happy that you're listening. Please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. We are so happy that you guys are listening with us. Please rate and review, ask questions, leave comments. We love to hear from you. And we've already gotten some questions. So today we thought we would get into our mailbag. And sitting in today with us is our producer, Tim. Tim, welcome.
Tim in the house.
Welcome, Tim.
Hi, how are you?
We're so happy you're here.
Love it.
If I might say, you're the best producer ever.
Oh, well, that's nice.
That
100%.
is, you are the best.
Producer Tim is the best.
Even with all of our technical issues as we're learning how to do a podcast,
Yes,
he really
we are not proficient.
Yeah, tricky. It's tricky getting you guys up to speed from Los Angeles when one of you is in Philadelphia and the other is in Nashville.
Yes.
It's much easier to to do Nancy when she's just in the living room.
Yeah. Well, thanks for all you do. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So we have questions from your listeners and / viewers today that we thought we would dig into.
Nice.
So the first
We love
one,
you, listeners.
Yeah. The first one that we have is you guys talk about cocktails a lot, and everybody knows we spend a lot of time together. Even me, I'm the fourth little fish sometimes, and I get to enjoy craft cocktails with you guys. But this listener wants to know, what are your favorites?
Well, I love a dry martini, vodka martini. Like that is like one of my favorites, but I can only have one. Otherwise, on just a normal sort of day, I would have like a glass of white wine. My favorite cocktail would be an extra dry vodka martini.
Do you have a preference, shaken versus stirred? Are you worried about?
I do shaken for sure. I shake it with lots of ice and I pour it into like a really, really cold glass that I just like put a whiff of vermouth in and toss it out because I don't really like it.
Just kind of wave it over the glass.
Cold vodka in a beautiful glass.
Now, can I ask you what happens if you have more than one?
Not good things. Yeah.
Like what? Do you go
I just start talking. I start talking too loudly and, then I have a massive headache the next day. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm day drinking and I have like one at lunch and then I can have one at dinner. That's the exception. But I can't do back to back.
Is there a set, pause period in between number one and number two?
Like 4 hours maybe.
4 hours. Okay. All right.
I love that though.
Nice. I'm not a big martini fan, but if I was doing a martini, I think I'd do gin. You're not a gin lady?
Can't stand gin.
No? Okay.
Don't like gin.
No juniper berries.
And I'm kind of like, I really like Tito's vodka. It's got that like a little bit of a warmth to it that I really like.
All right.
So,
you know who else can't do gin is our mom. She's always
she can't.
She's like, I've had a bad experience.
What about, I think you girls like Cosmos, right? Is that your go-to?
I love a Cosmo. Like if you're celebrating or just, you know,
it's pretty.
Going to dinner, I love to have a pretty Cosmo. But, I find they're tricky. There are some people that make a really good one, and then there are some that just make them so strong. you can't even like hardly drink it.
Yeah.
Like one time I had to ask them to really water it down because I was like, it was like, oh.
Oh. Well, I would say
But-
they didn't mix it right.
It's basically a pink martini at that point.
It's a pink martini.
Yeah. But a good Cosmo is excellent.
I love a French 76.
Five. 75. She loves a French 75.
I don't even know what
Those are
that
good.
is.
You've had one. I've
always
made you
say-
one in Canada. It's like lime juice and vodka and a little float of prosecco or sparkling champagne. I think there's something else in there too. But you've had it. You like it. It's a good. It's a good drink.
It's delish.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Prosecco is my second favorite.
It's a classic old drink. And then there's the French 95, and you can substitute vodka for whiskey. But I don't think you girls are down with that.
That's a no for me.
A
That's
little
a no for me,
whiskey.
too. I like my
do.
whiskey straight.
I'm not sure Nancy really does whiskey ever. Have you ever done whiskey, Nancy? You're not a.
I have. I've tried to, like, my dad likes to drink it on the lake, and so I'm like, okay, I'll have one with you. And honestly, it's not enjoyable. If I don't enjoy it, I don't want to drink
Yeah.
it. So I just can't. I want to like it, but it's a no for me.
Well, whiskey. Okay, I had to go to this wedding in Nashville a couple weeks ago. Whiskey is like bourbon, right?
Bourbon is a type of whiskey.
Yes,
Bourbon is
exactly.
a specific type of
Well,
whiskey.
they had-
It has to be in its age a certain way. Yeah.
So at this wedding-
bourbon is what it's made of. There's a certain corn percentage to make it bourbon.
Oh, I see.
But all bourbon is whiskey. Not all whiskey is bourbon.
That's right.
So
Same
the
way with
bride-
Scotch. Scotch is whiskey. Not all whiskey is Scotch.
Right.
I see. Well, at this wedding, the bride came out, and it was kind of an outdoor wedding as well. And she's like, "It's time to do some whiskey shots." And I ended
know
up
you did
doing
that.
a shot with them, and I about like threw up. I was like, "Ugh." I couldn't even get it down. They thought it was so funny, but I literally felt like I was drinking like turpentine. I was
That
like,
is funny.
"Ugh."
You know, there's been a couple times, Kathy, where I've made you a drink up at the cabin, and Peter will be next to me, and he looks at how much booze I'm pouring in, and he's like, "What are you doing? You can't give her that much booze."
I know. Peter's like, well, Peter's had some bad experiences with that. So.
Yes, it's the same with Nancy. She's got a very Lynn talking about your one every 4 hours. Nancy, if she gets to the third glass of wine, all bets are off. It's going to be a bad night. Like, don't have a third drink, please. She can do two, but it's off a cliff after the third.
I
one.
can even say that about a strong second Cosmo. You better not even have a third. That would be like a disaster.
Yeah. All right. So those are cocktails. So your next question is this listener says they hear you talk about your college students a lot. What do you do about curfews for college students that are home for the summer?
Kathy, what do you do about your college student?
Well, this is my first one, so it's our first summer. I really even haven't given him any curfew. There's only been a couple nights that he's really gone out with his friends, and there was one night that he was out very late. But the other nights he's been in reasonably, so I feel like he's okay. And the night he was out super late, he was down the street, so I wasn't worried about him. But I guess I don't have a curfew for him because I feel like now he's at school, he's doing whatever he wants to do, and I'm not there to say whether you can or not. I just talked to him about making good choices, obviously.
I'm
But
kind
no,
of in the same boat. I have two. They both work a lot, so that sort of dictates what time they go to bed. My only thing is just be respectful of the household. Like,
Does it
don't
change
be
for
out-
you guys? Like, I know, when they're in high school, when they're smaller and they're out of the house, it's a different thing. But, as you mentioned, they've gone out in the world and they're living on their own most of the year. Like, do you even notice them gone in the same way that you did when they were at the house all the time?
I don't.
Yeah, it's just a
I
different
think
thing,
I've
right?
mentally sort of like switched to flipped a switch in
Yeah.
that, they're adults now. They're very responsible people. I don't have trouble with them, so I don't really
Yeah.
keep a leash on them. They're respectful people, and They kind of sometimes tell me where they are, or if I notice they're not around, I'll be like, "Are you at work?" Or, but they don't have to check in with me necessarily.
Did you have bedtimes for your teenagers when they were in high school?
Oh, this is a good one.
No. I will say I
Riley
always want
can't
them
listen
to
to
go
this.
to bed at a decent time. I want them to go to bed at a decent time. I want them to get sleep. But the reality is, I know our rising senior for the last couple of years has stayed up till 2 a.m. almost every single night. And he drags himself, like he has to leave the house at 7:40 in the morning to get to school on time. I think he leaves at 7:42 every single day. I think he was late for his first period every single day.
Wow.
And at the beginning of the year, I would like go crazy. And finally, I was like, you know what? You have to live with your own consequences. Like, if I was your teacher, I would want to kill you. But, it was like weight training. But,
Oh, does that really even count as a class? I guess you
well,
have to beat yourself.
according to my son, it does not count. So he didn't care. The natural consequences, I think I've kind of just sort of, if you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and you want to walk around like a zombie, that's on you.
Yeah.
You're dumb.
I think every kid has their own personality. Like my middle son, he actually goes to bed relatively early once he's done studying because he just naturally has been always a good sleeper. He's like my best sleeper.
He has been a good sleeper.
And
Trevor.
my two on the other ends, they're like night owls. So,
Yeah.
and I kind of feel the same. My oldest stays up later than I want him to, but I'm like, well, you have to deal with that and you have to be able to function. My youngest, I'll go in his room and say, it's getting super late. You need to go to bed because he honestly, when he doesn't get sleep, he gets surly.
Yeah.
It gets like angry and it's like not fun to be around. So,
And, I think producer Tim, like when they're young, of course you control everything. And then middle school happens. You sort of let the reins go. And then they hit high school. And every year I've let more and more go. Like they have to just do it. Like they do their own laundry. They pack their own food. They do, so then when they leave the house, they're ready. And I have to let stuff go. I'm a very controlling person, but I let a lot go.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's tricky for us.
Is someone in our kitchen, Nancy? Is that noise coming from us?
I think it's coming from Linda.
That's D2 making some breakfast.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hello, D2. Okay, let's move on.
Sabrina, we hear you. What are you making?
I would guess she's making hash browns and eggs. That's what it smells like
yeah.
to me.
That sounds delicious. I love hash browns. Speaking of love, some of your listeners love the lipstick that you wear. What color is it, and what brand?
Well, they're not talking to me because I hardly wear lipstick. So
I don't know how you survive. I'm obsessed with lip gloss. I don't understand that at all. Like, how can you leave the house with that? In fact, I think if I was stranded on a deserted island, I would need my lip gloss. That would be my thing I need.
That would be your top 3.
I mean, I love it. So I have a few things I love. I love Burt's Bees, and I love this Buxom brand that supposedly plumps your lips. But when I wear it, my husband refuses to kiss me because he says it stings him. Because it does kind of like, I don't know what it does, but it supposedly plumps your lips. Yesterday I was at the Kroger and
It reminds me of a hot dog brand. There was a hot dog brand in like the 80s and 90s. It plumps when you cook them. I don't know.
There was.
So weird.
does it really plump your lips?
I mean, temporarily, probably a little bit. And I don't know what's in there. It kind of makes your lips warm. Buxom, so good. And then, in fact, I obsessively, yesterday I was at the Kroger buying some stuff and I bought 2 L'Oreals. See? They're very...
Well, our viewers can't
if the
see.
people are not watching us, I'm holding up 2 adorable lip glosses from L'Oreal that I love.
Do those make your lips tingle?
No, only Buxom. That's the only brand that makes your lips tingle.
All right. Hey, Kathy, do you have any lipstick?
I actually don't on a daily basis wear lipstick. I usually use like Aquaphor just to keep my lips not from getting dried out.
I do
and
not
getting
understand what I'm
sunburnt,
hearing.
because sunburnt lips are no good. And then going out, I'll usually put a little bit on. But I find like, when you're drinking and stuff, it comes off. I don't know. I just am
So-
not. It's
I
more
have
of a
lip gloss
special occasion.
Everywhere. In my car, in my purses, on my desk, in the kitchen.
So Kathy sounds like she prioritizes the Cosmos over the lip gloss, which
Yes.
I can get behind that.
That's what I'm hearing.
I do.
I like it.
That's what I'm hearing.
I like it. Nancy?
But I think if I were to wear a lipstick, I usually wear a Veda.
Oh, yeah.
A Veda.
Fancy.
Yeah. I don't wear a ton of it. If I do, I'll wear like a gloss. Like I like Burt's Bees. I'm not fancy. Like I don't wear it a lot. I forget about it. And honestly, it's like my keys. I can't ever keep track of it. In fact, I just bought a Burt's Bees lip gloss the other day, and I literally can't find it. It's brand spanking new, and I have no idea what I did with it. I'm like,
you might have to check in your daughter's room, because that is the person in our house who loves lipstick.
that's
JoJo,
true.
I got you. I love it.
That's true. She does love it.
Speaking of lips, and specifically plump lips, what's everyone's take on Botox?
I know friends that love it and are really a fan of it. And now that I'm creeping to my age is getting up there, like as we've discussed, I'm having a big birthday. I've been looking in the mirror a lot lately and noticing lines that I don't love, but I'm also afraid of Botox. So it's like I get the draw to why to do it, but I also am afraid of it. I'm like, you know that Friends episode where they go and get tattoos. Her and Rachel go and get tattoos, and Rachel comes back with the heart, and they're like, Phoebe, let's see yours. And she shows them a dot of a blue freckle. She's like, they use needles. I don't love needles. That's me. Like, I'm not sure. I don't like it, but I don't know if I really want to have a needle in my face.
Yeah. I think there's mixed feelings about it. I do Botox on my forehead and around my eyes like twice a year. And I love it because it doesn't get rid of wrinkles, but it does help smooth them out. So
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't make me look quite as haggard as I sometimes feel. But you got to find somebody who's really good, and you got to have a good rapport with them. I don't use Botox. I use Dysport, which is a different brand.
Dysport.
Yeah, that lasts a little longer. But yeah, I do it twice a year. I love it.
Do you use Dysport? Is that what you called it?
So yes, I will confess that I do Dysport. I started actually after I turned 50, because I was just noticing I had like a major line on my forehead, and I was like, why is that getting worse? It was just not attract. Like, I did not like it. So that's really why I was in there to talk to him about it. And then he put it in, and it's really gone away.
Yeah.
The nice thing about it is, I think because I just kept up with it, now it's gone.
Yeah.
And I do have, I have to have touch-ups, but like, it is nice. And then I think because I have such fat cheeks, I get wrinkles around my eyes. So he puts a little bit around my eyes. But I do it like you do, Linda, maybe twice a year, maybe 3 times if there's something major going on. But the problem with it is, like, once you start it, you won't stop it, is the thing.
Yeah.
Because, and that's where you kind of get into, well, how much, like, will you draw the line somewhere? I feel like sometimes when I get it done, I feel like he's very good. And I've been going to him now for a few years, so he knows me. But it does hurt sometimes.
The needle is so little.
Like, you get a little bleeding, and you might get like a little bruise.
Yeah.
Unexpectedly, you never know. And if you have to go somewhere, one time I thought, oh my gosh, I look like I have a black eye.
And it's I would imagine it's a little addicting too, right? To get rid of those wrinkles, and you look better and you feel better.
Right.
And I don't know about you guys and your skin professionals who I can't remember the actual name. What do we call those? Dermatologists.
Dermatologist.
Yeah, but every time I go, more than any other medical professional, they're trying to do the upsell, right? So like, is there an urge there? Like, where do you draw the line? Do you want to like, are you tempted to do more and you kind of have to pull that back, or how does that work?
I feel like, so I actually go to a plastic surgeon, and I think the reason I actually started going to him was because I had a lesion on my arm and my knee that the dermatologist recommended that I see him. He's like, you need more taken off than I can do, so I need to send you here. And I actually really liked him. And that's when I started talking to him about the Botox. And I just keep going to him. And I actually feel like he is a reasonable cost compared to other like doctors' offices and even dermatology offices. I think you have to be careful like who you go to, because I think some people kind of really jack up the pricing,
Right.
you know?
Does he try to sell you on more procedures?
No,
Oh.
I don't think he does. He'll be like,
Mine doesn't either.
I don't think you're ready for anything right now. Maybe in 5 years you're going to need, if you want like a little tiny lift.
Yeah.
But he said, right now you're fine.
Maybe it's just all the pamphlets on the wall that I see that I go, oh, that looks, oh, that guy's got a full head of hair. Could I get that?
I mean, I think you could go down a rabbit hole easily. Like as you get older, you lose collagen. The only thing to do about like the chin and the neck is fillers. And I'd like to think I'm not going to go down that road, but I do love not having this like big 11 in between my eyes, which I had before.
Well, you have to remember, like, I know someone that got a facelift, like a mini facelift, and she had a complication, and now it didn't turn out exactly like how they thought, and she had like a scar, but it just is the way it goes. Like, so you have to be careful, like what you decide to do.
You have to weigh the risk. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there is that whole argument, like age was naturally, and this is the nature, and who cares, and blah, 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 blah. But for me, it makes me feel better when I look in the mirror. I mean, I'm still old. I'm like creeping up on 60. I mean, I would just say for all of our listeners, do whatever makes you happy and wear your sunscreen.
All right, we're going to take a big turn here. The next question on the list doesn't have to do with lips at all. What was your worst vacation experience?
Oh,
I have one.
Oh, let's hear it.
It was a work trip.
I hope the Willsbox weren't there.
you were not there. I was like, ooh, what is she going to say?
Okay, so it was a work trip that Rich and my husband and I went to St. Lucia, which should be this amazing, glamorous trip, right? It's this work trip. We have a few things we have to do for work, whatever. He gets like critically ill there. I'm in St. Lucia, basically by myself. He's stuck in the room. I had to call a physician from town who came with this like cloth bag full of medicine that I gave cash to. You look at him. He was stuck in the room. We had this beautiful suite, and I had to hire like a bodyguard to take me from place to place because it's not really that safe of an island. So I could do like some things all by myself with this like big man following me to make sure I don't get murdered. And I don't even know why I thought he wasn't going to murder me. But so it was terrible. It was a terrible trip. And it's basically a third world country. And it's beautiful, but it was horrible. Horrible.
Oh, well, I mean, being afraid is not a good feeling, I'm sure, when you're supposed to be relaxing.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. He was so sick. I thought, there's no way he's going to make it home. There's just no way. I mean, and to see this woman come in with this like big cloth bag full of medicine, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, we have no choice.
Kathy, can you top that story?
I kind of have the same sickness story. So my oldest is going to be 20 in August. So this is like, almost 19 some years ago. We were going to Savannah, Georgia for Christmas with my husband's family. And we had Grayson was like basically, I think he was not even 6 months old. We had like a playpen for him, but we all got the flu. I mean, it was bad. Like the throwing up, both ends, mind you.
It's horrible to be sick, not in your own space, too.
It was dominoes.
Yeah,
Every
terrible.
single person in the house got sick. And I was down for the count, laying on the floor in the bathroom, yelling to somebody, can someone like take care of Grayson? He's crying, but I'm so sick. I can't even like take care of him. But we all got it. It was horrible.
Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
That was the worst
Sorry.
Christmas ever.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible.
That's terrible. Tim, I don't know if we've had a worse vacation. I mean, you and I, have we had a really bad vacation that I'm like blocking out?
I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is when Riley was about 6 months old and I was on the ship. I had been gone for 5 weeks and you and he met me down in Florida. And we decided we were going to take, because we lived in Indianapolis at the time, so it was winter.
Yeah.
We decided we wanted to take a trip to the Keys. You remember that trip?
Yes. And we were so excited.
I actually remember this trip for you.
Yeah. And we were so excited because it was our first proper trip, just the three of us. And we were so excited. And we had we're staying at this lovely place. And we, it was going to be, we lived in Indiana at the time. So we were going to be able to have some warmth, we thought. But it was the year where Florida was having record-breaking cold weather. And it was raining.
It was like literally in the 30s. Like the valet was wearing gloves. He's like, what's happening? It was the worst thing ever.
It was terrible.
So
and then
that's extra hard when you have an expectation of one thing. Yeah. And then the weather completely does the opposite.
Yeah.
And I did it. And I just packed I don't know, I've never gone anywhere before. I was like, I'm going to Florida. I don't have to pack anything for wet, cold. I mean, we just were a mess. And I remember we made the best of it. But all of our pictures are us covered in rain and we're cold. And then poor Riley, he came home and he went directly to the pediatrician because he had gotten sick with an ear infection. And it was just this was not what we had envisioned for our first.
Yeah.
Well, and the other part
trip.
of it. The other part of it too was, like she mentioned, it was the first time we had a 6-month-old on our first kid, and we were like, yeah, vacation, all right. And then you get there and you realize, oh well, crap, the kid's going to be in bed by 7:00. What are we going to do? I can't, I'm not going out some drinks or doing stuff. We active, doing stuff at night on any other vacation.
That's the secret. That's the thing people don't tell you when you have that baby. You think you can live your life.
Yeah.
And you do, but it's not the same. And it's not a vacation when you vacation with your little kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, we're footloose and fancy free because everybody's big. But back in the day, you were
well, you're just worried about
in that hotel room.
Yeah. Right. And that was the other thing. Where are we going to put him? It's just one hotel room. We can't even stay up and watch TV because the kid's sleeping. What's
right. It's terrible.
It's not ideal.
We had those splitters for the headphones and we would watch a movie on an iPad or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And we would be shh. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And Riley is our kid that it would not sleep through everything. Johanna, our daughter, once she's out, I mean, she really is, I feel out, but Riley was not like that. So I understand you being undercover and be like, we sneeze.
Don't make a noise.
Don't wake up.
The other thing that you realize is once you put the kid to bed, you're out in 30 minutes anyway. So it all kinds of comes out in the wash. But that was a memorable vacation for sure.
That's
speaking of that, it segues directly into our next question which is what's the advice that you would give for a new parent? So new parents, you already have some, but is there any more that we can add to that?
I mean, this is so cliche, but the reality is the time when your kids are little is short. So spend time, enjoy them, try not to get too spun out about all the things because pretty soon they're teenagers and they don't want to spend time with you. And it takes until they're in their late teens and early 20s before they want to spend time with you again. So just enjoy it.
I think for me too is like you have all these preconceived like notions, like you read the books or you have like, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this and this and this, and it's all going to go perfectly. And the reality is that I think if you can just kind of let go of it and just be in the moment and figure out what's going to work for you and your family. For me, I wish I would have known that going in instead of being like, wait, but it says it's like this and like this. And it's okay that it's not. Like, you're going to figure it out and make what works for you and your family.
Do the best you can.
Yeah.
Relax. Have fun.
Yeah, I think you just can't be too serious. Like, stuff happens, you take it day by day. Try not to take it too seriously.
It's
right?
kind of like when you're having your first baby and you have your birth plan and you're like, this is my plan. And I don't know about you, but for both of my kids, my birthing plan did not go as according to plan at all. So it's like you just kind of have to be like, whatever.
Gotta roll with it.
Yeah, gotta roll with it.
But I do have to say it does, and people say this all the time. I used to hate it when people said it to me because I was like, whatever, but it does go fast.
It does.
Like the years go fast. Like
the
sometimes you're
days
in
can
it
be
in the
slow.
moment. You think, oh, this
The
is
years
like
go fast.
Yeah, but 5 years go by and you're like, what happened?
Right.
10
Enjoy
years go
it.
by.
Relax.
I saw a quote the other day, and it said something to the effect of, you realize at some point that you will end up knowing your kids more as adults than you ever will as actual children. Which I don't know why that kind of hit me in a profound way, but had never really thought of that before.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's great. I mean, honestly, like the little kid thing is fun, but having adult children is amazing, and I love it. So hang in there, new parents. It all smooths out.
Yeah.
Right.
It all smooths out. They get
All
to be
smooths
older, and then you can start a podcast with your sisters.
That's right. You never know.
Which leads me to the next question, which is you clearly must all three be extroverts if you decided to get on camera and have conversations that the whole world can hear. So that's the question. Are you all extroverts?
I am not. I am more introverted than I am extroverted. Like in my little tight circle of people, I probably seem very extroverted because I'm comfortable, but I can go a week without talking to people and be totally fine. I don't need to be out and about and chatting with people. It really takes a lot of energy for me to do that, and I have to recharge. So I am not an extrovert. This whole thing has taken me a long time to get used to. I am not comfortable. It's like I am not a showman, or I'm not like an actress or anything like that. That's a no for me.
Well, I definitely am an extrovert, but I don't think I'm an actress or a showman. But I like to be around people. I like to be out in the world. It fills me up to like be around other people and there's an energy to it for me. So I definitely am. I'm definitely an extrovert for sure.
I think that I am an introvert, but I'm also can be an extrovert. Can that be a thing?
Yeah,
You're just a trovert.
I feel like sometimes I'm more shy around people I don't know, so I'm more quiet. But I do enjoy being social. I like going to parties. I think connecting with people makes me happy. So in that way, it's good. But I also do like private time, like Linda was saying, I like being by myself sometimes, and having everyone out of my hair is nice.
Don't ask me any questions.
All right, we've come to our last question, which is, you all are married. What is your love language?
Oh.
I don't even know what that means,
I
to
will
be honest.
answer this because I did not even know what this meant. And I was
same. What is a love language? What?
Why don't you girls explain? Because I'm not, I just learned about it.
This like psychologist came up with this quiz where people have a language that they show their love to their partners, and the partners have a language that they like to receive. So like for me, I'm an act of service person. Like I will like give the acts of service to my people that I love. I'll care for them, nurture them, give them food that they love, hug them, call them. Like I'm acts of service. I kind of like quality time or words of affirmation. My husband is all about touch. Like if you could I try and like give him a hug, and a little kiss on the cheek a couple times a day, and that fills up his tank. So it's just like filling up your love tank in whatever way that you need.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I like affirmation a lot. I think I also try to give affirmation, like words are important to me, but also acts are important to me of just, I think I trying to do for people, but I also am constantly trying to like check in or that was amazing or you did a great job or, I kind of am a dual. I think I do both and I need both. So I feel like I act how I feel like I also want to receive.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I have a friend who loves gifts. Gifts is one of them, like giving gifts here and there, gifts that fills up their love tank. I mean, yeah.
Well, I mean, who doesn't like a gift every now and then? I mean, I don't need it, but it is nice. Hey, Tim, producer Tim, what fills up your love tank? What does it for you?
I'm just a moderator of this particular episode. I'm not involved in the actual conversation. Kathy, what's your love language?
So I didn't really know what they were talking about, and the girls made me do like a little quiz. What was that quiz?
The 5 love language quiz.
Yeah.
We could maybe put the link at the bottom.
Mine kind of came out the same, Linda, as like you. Like I like quality of time. So I like spending time with my people as opposed to getting gifts or that makes me feel good.
That fills up your tank.
I think you're not all or nothing. Like my quality time was like 40%. So obviously I have other things that I like too, but I like a little affirmation every now and then. Like, hey, Mom, you did a really good job. It's nice to hear every once in a while. But I think just spending time with my people and my husband in particular, because I don't get to see him during the day at all. Yeah. So when he's at home, I like to be present, or I'll sit on his couch in his office and talk to him or just watch TV while he's working or whatever.
Well, this has been kind of fun. I'm so glad our readers and our listeners.
Yeah. Thank you for the questions.
Yes, you guys, we've loved your questions. These have been so great. We love to hear from you. Please continue to send in those questions and comments, and you can email us at 3lfpod@gmail.com. 3lfpod@gmail.com.
Well, producer Tim, thank you for sitting in with us today. It was very fun having you.
Yay. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, glad to be here.
We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. We'd love your feedback. Have a fabulous weekend. Sisters out.